Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It is Skype Goldbridge. It's Monday night. We will be taking your calls. But first of all, let's talk about the latest Manchester United news and some things you might want to be discussing tonight. Luke Shaw is out of the game against Watford. That is sort of breaking news. That's come out in the last couple of hours. Very disappointing. Very disappointing, but not surprising. This is because of the head injury. You get a head injury in sport these days, and they tend to want to give you 7 to 10 days to recover. And obviously, Luke Shaw would not train in that time. You wouldn't have thought so. So he's out of the Watford game, which in a roundabout way, you can't blame Mourinho about this. A lot of people feared that Ashley Young would find his way into the Manchester United team ahead of Luke Shaw. That didn't happen. Luke Shaw's been the best player in our team this year, but lo and behold, Young will be playing against Watford at the weekend, and will that prevent Luke Shaw getting back in? I hope not, because he's been absolutely fantastic, and again, getting an injury for putting himself in there. A lot of people question Luke Shaw's mentality for numerous reasons, but one thing I've seen since he's come back from that bad injury on his leg, he doesn't shirk a challenge. I mean, what was that goal we scored against Brighton, wasn't it, where he went into tried to hit it and there was a bit of contact there and Lukaku nodded it home. So brave from Luke Shaw, but sad that he'll miss the Watford game, but obviously precautions are precautions. Also, the title of the show, Jose Mourinho powerless in some people's minds around Manchester United and the potential power struggle that's going on. Paul Pogba's come out with another quote, had a great French international duty, looking forward to the next one, still no mention of Manchester United, boo-hoo, not bothered, get back to Manchester and start doing what you should be doing in a Manchester United shirt, Pogba. But, interesting, when we talk about this, Mourinho said, didn't he, that I'm not going anywhere, well, words to the effect, I'm not going anywhere because they can't afford to sack me. The reality is, can United afford to lose Woodward? Can United afford to lose Pogba? And if you look at the dynamics of a power struggle, no matter how subtle they are, the reality is, if there is a triangle of power struggles and it's Mourinho, Pogba and Woodward, Woodward's had the plane going past from the fans, not happy with him. Pogba's got fans who don't really like him, and Mourinho at the moment has probably got the biggest power base with the fans behind him at the moment. But that can all change on results. Results change football. But the reality is, if you spoke to the Glazers, who is the most expendable out of those three things? Well, it's not going to be Woodward. Woodward is a Glazer man. He's brought a lot of money into the club. I'll come back to him in a minute. It's not going to be Pogba, because Pogba's the merchandise man. Pogba is the most powerful footballer. It came out a couple of days ago in relation to marketing and money, and that gets mentioned a lot in Manchester United board meetings about the social media pull that comes from Pogba. Mourinho, £12 million, he'd be the fall guy. Mourinho would be the fall guy. But let me just say this about Ed Woodward, because I'm not a massive fan of Ed Woodward, of course. I think that the Glazers and Woodward haven't really helped the situation at United. But what I would say about Ed Woodward is a fantastic businessman. And could it really be said that Ed Woodward has not supported managers since Sir Alex Ferguson left? We've broken our club transfer record 3 times. We broke the world transfer record for Pogba. Money has been spent. Now, what involvement Ed Woodward has in the decision about those players is questionable. But let's not forget, we've spoken about this last night as well, Manchester United have had money to spend. I think they've spent it badly, and that tends to be down to the managers. Also on the agenda, talking about transfers, Hirving Lozano's been linked to Manchester United through AS, as has he's been linked to Barcelona as well, and also a transfer analyst. This is what Manchester United are looking for, a transfer analyst to help them in relation to transfers. I mean, sounds like something that they'll probably be looking for somebody off Football Manager, I don't know. But it certainly sounds a little bit... I think we do need help with transfers, but I do also think that Manchester United should, the size that they've got, be far more capable of signing players. I mean, I'll do it for him. I don't mind doing it. I'm sure there's loads of you who do it for him. I'll do it for free. Just, I can go and get Perisic. Somebody asked me that today. What player would you go and get January? Go and get Perisic. Sod how old he is. Let's get somebody who's got some genuine wing talent, because the best winger we've got is Martial and he doesn't play him, so let's go and get some genuine wing talent. Right, we're going to start taking your calls. Please do drop a like on the video. It's Skype Goldbridge. It's every Monday night at 8 o'clock. It's your show now. Call in, have your say on whatever you want to do. Vishnu says, aren't you concerned with contract situations of De Gea, Shaw and Martial? They're out of our hands. They're out of our hands, aren't they? Those transfer situations. The club have got to take care of that. There are a number of Manchester United players who are out of contract at the moment, and the club must deal with that. I'll be the new transfer agent, says George Kyle. Boring football, Manchester United, says Oddy Daly. Thanks for that. Really adds loads and loads to the conversation. Right, let's take this first caller. Hello, can you hear me? Sophie, how are you?
Hi Mark, you alright?
I'm all right. I'm glad that we've actually got somebody genuine on the show. You've not been on for a while. I know.
Let's talk about football, shall we?
We will.
That's what we're here for.
You were going to be on last night. I know you got stuck in traffic.
Yeah, had a bit of a nightmare yesterday.
I'm going to ask you a question first, because what I was going to ask you last night is, because you've not been on for a while, is just tell me what you think. I mean, it sort of feeds in with the power struggle, but tell me what you think about the Paul Pogba situation at Manchester United at the moment. Which way are you swaying with that?
You know what? Paul Pogba, I'd say, is probably my favourite United player. And when he signed, I was absolutely buzzing. After his form at Juventus, we all know what the lad can do. He's absolutely fantastic talent. And he signed for a lot of money, and we all knew he was going to be under a lot of pressure. The media would slate him. They'd get on his back, just like they do with Jose Mourinho. But I've got to be totally honest on this one and say, you know what, Paul Pogba at the minute, he hasn't done enough for me. He looks like he's trying too hard at times. He's always got to do something fancy, even like simple passes. He's not pulling them off. I mean, there's been the odd game where he's been fantastic, don't get me wrong, and he's obviously showed glimpses of what he can do, but he hasn't done it consistently enough for me at the moment. And that kills me to say it, because I love Paul Pogba. But let's be honest here, he hasn't done what he came to do at United. He hasn't lived up to the expectation yet.
No. And just about his comments, I mean, is it something like, I said this today on Twitter, the people genuinely dislike Pogba? Do United fans genuinely dislike Pogba? Do you genuinely want United to go? Do you want him to go because of comments that he's made, recently? I mean, where are you on that? Do you think he should go? Are you annoyed with him, or do you think it's solvable?
I think first thing first, he's got to get rid of his agent. I think he's the problem. His agent, for me, does all the talking, and Pogba, if he's honest and he wants to stay at United and the club means so much to me, he's got to get rid of the agent, because he's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, was there anything you particularly wanted to call in about?
As well, to be honest with you, like you say, it's been a while, so I wanted to catch up, and obviously I've been staying tuned with United, I've been watching. Luke Shaw has been a massive positive this season, and I was so gutted the other night when he got injured for England. I had fingers crossed for him, hoping that he was going to recover. He's going to be out of the Watford game, which is obviously a big loss with the formation at the moment. I just hope that it doesn't knock his confidence too much, because he's been fantastic start this season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it will. I mean, I think obviously everyone had concerns that Ashley Young would have that spot, but I think Mourinho's been sufficiently impressed with Luke Shaw that when he's back, and it isn't an injury per se in relation to footballing terms, it is precautionary concussion. Quite right that he doesn't play, but you'd expect him to walk straight back into the team. Yeah,
well, like I say, he's been our best player this season. He's been buzzing. You can see the confidence on the lad. He's been fantastic. I just hope that this doesn't knock him too much. I love this tweet where he said he's a fighter and he'll come back soon. I love that. I love the support he's been getting from everybody, not just United fans as well. It's fantastic to see, because he's such a talent, not just for United but for England. I mean, his assist the other night was fantastic. And I just hope that he gets back up and he fights back from this, and he does what he's been doing at the start of the season, really, because he's been fantastic.
And where do you stick on Mourinho? Because, like you say, he's not been on for a few weeks. It's been an up and down start to the season. Some people weren't behind Mourinho anyway. Obviously, 2 losses, positives from Burnley and the first half against Spurs. Some people are Mourinho out. Some people are, walking around in his coat, absolutely happy. Where are you with it?
To be honest, I'm still at the same mark. I said before, I'm not Jose out. However, my patience is slowly wearing away with him. I think, like you said, positives, the Spurs defeat, I actually wasn't that annoyed like I should have been, because I actually saw a lot of positives in that first half. We actually went at Spurs, which was fantastic. But then you could argue, actually, Spurs wanted to scratch in the first half, and when they did turn up in the second half, they steamrolled us. That's what a lot of people said. But for me, I still back Jose Mourinho. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. At the end of the day, players didn't play for Van Gaal before him as well, so I think it does get a lot of slating from the press and stuff like that, but I think he needs to be given this third season. I really do, and it's hard to say that because we've got to be patient as United fans. The football isn't the most pleasing on the eye, but I did see positives against Spurs, especially in that first half.
Yeah, definitely. And just very quickly, last point. Watford on Saturday. I was on a show today saying it's a season-defining game, and I think it is, because if you lose that, you've lost 3 from 5. That's a terrible start. If you win it, you take the positivity, and then you've got Wolves at home. Obviously against Burnley we played really well, but we did chuck Fellaini in there to deal with the high ball. I don't think Watford play that style of football. They play energetic 4-4-2 from what I've seen. Would you go with the same team and formation against Watford, or that we played against Burnley, or would you bring Fred back in for a bit of energy to go against the likes of Capoue and Decore?
Well, that's Watford have got a really powerful midfield and they're absolutely flying at the moment. Personally, I want to see more of Fred in the midfield and want to see us attack at pace and I want to see high energy. So yeah, I would like to see Fred back in there, but knowing Jose Mourinho, he'll probably go with a similar lineup to what he did against Burnley.
Right. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on, Soph. Nice to have you on. I know you couldn't do last Sunday, but hopefully we'll get you on next Sunday.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. Playing at home this week, so I'll be on this Sunday.
All right.
Thank you for having me on as well.
No worries. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye. Some of you won't know who Sophie is. She's normally on a Sunday night with Flex. She was going to be on last night. She's been off a few weeks over the summer, but the car broke down, so she couldn't do it. So let's take another call. Now this guy's been. Hopefully it is the right person and it's not just another idiot. But Pankaj, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
How you
Thanks
doing,
for
pal?
getting me on.
No, I know you tried to get on last week, and everyone in the live comments is get Pankaj on. So I was keeping an eye out for you tonight. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Pogba.
Okay.
I've seen in the recent games he looks so disinterested, and for me, the club is bigger than the player. It has always been. So I think he looks so disinterested, and I think if he isn't happy at Manchester United, I think he should leave. For me.
I mean, I don't know the situation, but I was asked this question today as well about Pogba, and if I'm giving my opinion on it, I mean, I don't know what's going on inside the club. I can't tell anybody that. I don't know why Mourinho wasn't backed, but but Woodward and Mourinho still seem to get on well. I don't know why Pogba clearly has an issue with Mourinho when Mourinho's been really nice about him this season. But I think what I can say is that if Pogba was offered this situation that United fans will still cheer your name when you've gone, but you can go to Barcelona tomorrow, I think he would go. I don't think he is happy. I think we can, but I personally think we can change that. But you would get rid of him if he's not happy.
Yeah, because he's not been consistent in every game. He's too inconsistent. I want him to succeed at Manchester United, but if he deserves criticism where it's due, he deserves it. If he's not inconsistent, there's a reason, right, that people criticize him. People are mad at him.
I do. Sorry, I do agree because this will drop out of my head if I don't say it. So sorry for jumping in, but I do agree with you on this, and I want to ask you, why do you think he's so inconsistent? Is it just because he's never going to be world class? Is it down to him? Is it the system? Because Pogba is our best player. He's our most expensive player. He's not our best player. He's our most expensive player, and he's world renowned. But anybody who watches Pogba, i.e. United fans, will say what you've just said there. 1 good game in 4. Not enough good games. But his world status is huge. He's the most marketable player in football. So why is Pogba so inconsistent, do you think? What if you I know it's a difficult question, but what do you think it is that stops him?
I think maybe it's the problem with the manager, or maybe he doesn't have a correct attitude or something, because I think even last year when he came, he didn't play well. Well, he played well in some games and he was inconsistent. I don't really know, because you have seen Luke Shaw. He has been performing. He has been so consistent. We don't see that from Pogba. Seriously. Well, he isn't playing for the badge, to be honest. He's not playing for the badge. I think the club is bigger than the player. If he can't succeed, if it's not working out, he should be sold. I'm telling you, he should be sold. He should be. Bring in another midfielder who plays for the badge, who will play for the club, who will play, because Manchester. I don't care whichever plays. He has to be consistent. The club means a lot for me. That's it.
I agree. The club should definitely come first. And
I don't care who the player is. The player has to perform day in, day out. Whoever the player is, he has to perform. Luke Shaw is performing. Pogba isn't performing. You have to drop Pogba if he isn't performing. Play Pereira instead of him. Pereira performs. Pogba doesn't perform. That's a fact. You can't see the name. You don't see everyone sees the brand, the name, Pogba. Pereira is performing. Play Pereira instead of him. I want Pereira to play, not Pogba, because he's inconsistent.
It's a good point there, what you said about brand over player, because I think that actually Pogba deserved to get dropped against Brighton.
What?
I think Pogba should have been dropped after Brighton, and I think it's because of his brand
Yeah.
that he stayed in the team. Because Pereira and
Last,
Fred have
last
been
season,
dropped. I thought they did okay.
last season he was also inconsistent, Pogba. So I think Pereira should play. He should get a lot of games. So I think he should play Pereira. I think Mourinho should see to it. But I don't think so. He will drop Pogba because the club are so they want the team to be built around Pogba. So that's why. That's
No, really good points, Pankaj, and thanks for calling in. And please do call in again.
Yep.
I think that was his mum at the end. Yeah, but you know what he was saying there is very, very true. I mean, if anyone follows me on Twitter at Mark Goldbridge or my channel, I'm actually going to do a video about this because I think it'd be very funny about Hazard, because there's so many Hazard fanboys on Twitter. They absolutely love him, and that's their right. It's all about opinion. But Pogba and Hazard, I mean, Hazard has won titles for Chelsea. I can't deny that. But there is a big issue about Hazard and consistency, where he'll play well in one game and then he'll have 2 games where he goes disappearing. And and also actually, if you look at his last 4 or 5 seasons, I think at least 2 of them he's gone, disappeared. He's got a tendency to down tools and just, if things aren't going his way. And I think that's for me. And this is going to sound really controversial, but I think David Silva is a better bet than Eden Hazard because he is very consistent. And I think we can get lost in the FIFA things because, I've got Hazard in my team. Look how quick he is and his ball control. It's like a magnet and this, that and the other. But consistency is probably not something that is ever replicated in Football Manager and FIFA, but it is in real life. And I think Pogba, it can be a problem with... It's not just exclusive to Pogba is what I'm trying to say. Is there's some really top players out there now and in the past who have struggled with consistency. So I think it's a really good point well made there. About Pankaj and consistency. Thanks everyone. Please do drop likes on the video. It's been a I don't know what to say about that, but there we go. Whole team is inconsistent, says Webath, and we are blaming our most expensive buy. Even Ronaldo will struggle with our current system. I agree with that, but I also think that Pogba is an individual issue. I think Pogba, regardless of inconsistency, world-class players do need to perform far, far more consistently than that. That's what makes you a world-class player. Mark, I saw your video with 90 Minutes, says Isa Hassan. Yeah, good to be on there. If you have not seen the 90 Minutes YouTube channel, pop on there. I was down in London today doing a video with them. Very weird for me to do that because I wasn't leading the show. So it was weird to do, but I did enjoy it, and hope everybody goes and gives it a watch because it was a good watch and I did enjoy doing it. But Skype's playing up at the moment, everybody, so just bear with me. This is what happens with Skype. We start to get a lot of calls and it just crashes a little bit, so I'll take a few comments while it dials down for a bit. Pogba doesn't like Mourinho, says Daniel James. I think there's probably something in that. I'm trying to do another call, P1X Riots. I've just explained why I'm not doing it. The calls need to die down a little bit on Skype because we're getting too many at the moment. Although, we've got Marcus now. I've been clicking him. Can you hear me, mate?
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, are you real?
I wish I wasn't some days.
Yeah. I thought, I just take an intake of breath for the first few seconds of every call now. But what do you want to talk about, pal?
I just wanted to say I watched your video on the 90-minute thing this afternoon, and I think absolutely fantastic. So I just wanted to say to everyone who hasn't seen it yet, give it a watch. I think Mark's tweeted it out on Twitter. So give it a good watch. And I just wanted to ask you, do you think that anything that Pogba is going to say is going to be positive about Manchester United or Mourinho?
No, I think he'll be positive about United like he has been around the fans and effort. But, I mean, what are your thoughts with Pogba? I mean, I asked Sophie of that. But I think United fans have become a little bit, not bored of it. We're just sort of like, the next step is what is he going to do on the pitch? Because I think everyone's realistic. There's clearly I don't think anybody can sit back and say it's all paper talk now, because he's coming out with these quotes. There's clearly a problem there, and it's weird because Mourinho's actually been very positive. I think Mourinho gave him the captaincy. Mourinho could have dropped him after Brighton, and he's kept playing him. He missed that penalty, and Mourinho said he'll still take penalties, even though last year Mourinho was like, if you miss a penalty, someone else comes in. So it's what are your thoughts on it, on Pogba? What do you think his angle is? Is it just simply about Mourinho, or is it?
No, I think you've got to take into account the dressing room. You've got to take into account his attitude, and I think a major point that's been missing is the fact that the Premier League is a much faster league than the Italian league. So I'm thinking maybe it's not all down to his attitude or his heart's in Barcelona. Maybe it's the fact that he just can't express himself in the way that he wants to, like he did in Italy, because the Premier League is so much faster than what he's used to.
I'll tell you what, though, very interesting, because I like Serie A. I do watch Serie A, but I'd never say that I watch every single game of every single team. I probably watch maybe 20 games a season if I'm lucky, just because of time and that. But there was somebody who replied to a tweet yesterday that I put out, and he was like, I don't know why people are surprised. We loved him at Juventus, but he was very inconsistent. He'd have one good game and then 3 not so good games, but that was ignored because he was a lot younger then. He was in his early 20s, and it was all like, well, that's what you're going to get with a young player. He says what you're getting is what you got at Juventus. You see these clips of Juventus scoring 40-yard screamers, and everyone thinks he was doing it every week. He also had some really good players surrounding him, so that was interesting, because I think people think, oh, at Juventus he won 3 titles in a row. Well, he did, but he wasn't Mr. Brilliant every week, and he did have some, he had Pirlo with him for a start. I think Vidal as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I just think the lad is just finding it. I think he's being found out in the Premier League. It's too quick for him. He's a player that likes time on the ball. He doesn't really get that. He needs to exert himself in a different way. He needs to approach the game in a different way, which he can't, because again, the Premier League is much faster than the Italian league. And I also think he's probably a player that thrives off energy in the dressing room. And if the manager's coming out with negative comments like he did do, maybe the dressing room's a bit flat and he can't see a way out of it. So maybe his heart is in Barcelona after all.
Definitely.
Go
on.
But I was just going to say, just keep up the good work. I mean, everyone loves this show. This is what United Stand's all about, and don't let 2 idiots who dress up in their mum's clothes put you down.
You know well, dear. I mean, funnily enough, Fat Jock has just left a comment, super chat, and he said, I think you should stop doing the Skype shows because it's just allowing this sort of thing to happen, which I mean, my answer to that, I don't care what anybody says. I don't know what your thoughts are, Mad Marcus. You do the watch-alongs with me as well. Is that is not going to happen. We will be carrying on doing the Skype shows because this is what this channel is. And unfortunately, because it's growing quite a lot at the moment, and haters are going to hate, they will try and destroy something that's good. But we've been doing this for over a year, and we've never had these problems. So we'll come through it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's behind you. Everyone's behind the channel. United Stand Army is alive and well, and we won't give in. Don't let the haters, fucking let them dictate to you what shows you do. So keep it up, ignore it all, mate, and we're all with you. All right. Yeah.
Cheers for calling in, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
No worries, pal. See you later.
Ta-da. No, we won't be stopping. We won't be stopping doing the Skype calls. It's obviously some will get through. We'll just edit them out after the show. You don't have to worry about it. Thanks everyone who's dropping likes on the video and supporting it. And it seems like Pogba blames Mourinho for his inconsistency, says Sam Burgess, which I think is a good point, because the only thing we know from a Manchester United point of view is that Mourinho dropped Pogba back in January. We know that it factually happened. Then we know that Pep said that Raiola had offered him to him. So unless Pogba and Mourinho have had a big fallout, we don't really know what it's about. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hey Mark, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Is that Shiraz?
Yep, finally you got me on. Thank you so much, Mark. I love your show, and ignore the haters. You don't have to worry about them. They'll be always there. Okay, so wanted to discuss about Paul Pogba and the current situation of football generally. Okay, so now we have the whole world. The football is changing now. Okay, I have not heard Paul Pogba. Hello.
Yeah. I'm listening. I'm listening in,
Okay.
mate. Yes, all right.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, this is the first time, that's why. So I've seen a lot of players in the past, okay, the United players, when they go for their interviews and whatnot, when they lose the match, okay, I've seen them telling, we are Man United, we love the club, we'll get back stronger. I don't see that anymore. The players are just worried about their paycheck at the end of the week, and I don't think they're that interested in looking at the fans and playing for the fans. I just feel that they just play for money, and this is my opinion. I know they love football and all that, but tomorrow if they get a better offer from another club, they'll go to the other club. They won't stand by Man United at tough times, and I think that's what is happening to Paul Pogba. He's not interested in helping the team out. He's just talking to his agent, that fat idiot, and he just wants to get out of the club. And this is what I feel about Paul Pogba. And I think Mourinho, he's helpless now. It's like his kids are abandoning him. They're not playing for him, and he's like helpless. And I don't think he will leave, because like you said, it's a big deal for the club to pay him like 12 million or whatever for him to leave. But I believe it's not completely Mourinho's fault. He's trying hard. I mean, we know how good a manager Jose is, but I believe the players are not, interested in helping the team out, from the dump that we are in now, or the mess that we are in now. So this is my opinion, and I feel Jose, he's helpless. I feel he's really helpless, and he can't do much when big players like Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial are, they're not consistently performing for the team.
Yeah, I mean, hence the calling the show the Mourinho power struggle. If people are joining a little bit late, Sheris is just talking about it there. It is like, Mourinho's been very positive about Pogba. Mourinho didn't get backed in the summer, and if we have this triangle of power, which Pogba never should be in the power, it should, Woodward, Mourinho, Pogba should not be in it. But for some reason, the club are allowing Pogba to be in this power thing, and I don't think that's right. But what I would say is that we shouldn't be surprised, I suppose, because from Pogba's point of view, I mean, I would defend him on this, is that if United are nowhere winning a title, you've got a short career. And if he's looking at Barcelona because he can go and win Champions League and titles there, I don't have a problem with that as long as he's performing on the pitch. And the second thing is we shouldn't be surprised about this with Pogba. He has left the club before. I mean, he was a teenager under the best manager there's ever been with Sir Alex Ferguson, and he didn't want to be patient. He wanted to go to Juventus. So is the criticism of Pogba really fair totally when the club knew potentially he was this sort of a personality that when the going gets tough or he gets impatient, he's going to go?
You're right, but I just feel that when he came back to United, right, I just felt that the club was like, okay, he was here before, he came through the academy and all that. So the club were like, okay, this guy might actually, be worth it because he has that love for the club and all that. But I think the club expected something, and Pogba just turned out to be something else. And that's what I think, because that 90 million or whatever United paid for him and all the marketing and everything they did, it seemed like the club were expecting more from him. And I just believe his attitude, like, look at him, he's 6 feet 2 or 6 feet 3, and he just falls on the ground whenever someone touches him. A player that is 5 feet 5 inches, he just taps him and he falls on the ground and he screams for a foul and all that. So I feel he just I think it's time for him to leave, especially if he's not happy. He can do the club a big favor and players like Pereira a big favor by just leaving the club, and we can look for someone better who actually might not be as good as him technically, but might put their all and be consistent, like 9 out of 10 every game. Paul Pogba is like, he gets 10 out of 10 in a game and then he goes like missing in the next game. So, and one more point, Mark, I mean, I hope I'm not taking long. Is it fine? Can I put one more point there?
As long as very quickly, yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. And about Fellaini, right? I mean, I know you don't like the word effort, but I can tell you one thing about Fellaini. Whatever the manager asks him, it may be a defensive job or long balls or whatever, he just goes and does it, okay? If the manager asks him to go into the box and maybe score a goal, he'll do that. In terms of the manager, he's giving a 10 out of 10 performance every match. But if you ask Mourinho to rate Pogba every match, he'll be like, he's giving me 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. So that's where I'm leaning on Fellaini for that particular reason. He's not the best in the world or anything, but he at least does what Mourinho asked him to. So I think we should respect that aspect of Fellaini. Otherwise, he's not the best in the world. That's all. Thank you, Mark. I love your show, and just keep going. And all those haters, just ignore them and keep going. And thank you so much for getting me on the call. And I'm from India, by the way. So thank you.
Brilliant call. Thanks for calling, and please do call in again.
Yeah, sure, man. Bye.
Thank you. And he's right. Sharis is right about Fellaini. Look, Fellaini played really well against Burnley, and I wish he could play like that against Man City and dominate a midfield. I really do. But I've always been very consistent about Fellaini. I think he's about as useful as a pair of sunglasses on a bloke with one ear. And yes, you can stick a bit of blue tack on the side of your head, and it'll work. It will stick for a couple of games, but eventually that blue tack's falling off, and so are the sunglasses. It's all going to break. And Fellaini's done that throughout the 6 years he's been at the club. He'll have a couple of good games, and then it will all come crashing down. It's like Phil Jones. He'll have a good game, everyone thinks he's great, he'll get injured or he'll make a mistake. So, look, but I do agree that Fellaini gets a lot of credit at the moment, quite rightly, because what you always get with Fellaini is effort. And that goes back to what I was on about 2 weeks ago. We value effort at Manchester United because we've got players who don't put effort in. This is the sad thing. We always had world-class players who we basically had a squad where effort was standard. Didn't matter whether you were John O'Shea or Ronaldo. The effort levels were the same. The problem is now you've got world-class players who don't put the effort in, and you've got bang average players who put the effort in, and that makes the bang average players more fan favourites because they do put the effort in. Why are the best players not putting the effort in? Or the consistency, or whatever words you want to use. And I think that's right. I think United haven't got what they expected from Pogba. I've always, I like Pogba. I think we can resolve this situation. I don't think we should give up on it. And I find it very sad that there's a lot of United fans there who have decided to be like, get out of my club and stuff like that. In a way, it's good we're away from home because the away support won't be like that. I don't think the home support would be, but there's definitely a lot of United fans who want Pogba gone based on the way he's speaking about the club. But I just wonder with Pogba whether it's a personality thing. He is extrovert. He is happy-go-lucky. He does like to dance. Has he got that grit? Has he got that aggression that I think, your Rooney's, your Roy Keane's, your Brian Robson's had? Maybe that's where the consistency isn't there, because when the going gets tough, Pogba does one. There is something. I'd love to know what it is, but I think you'd need to know the man, the real man, to understand why there is this drop-off. Is it laziness? Is it lack of confidence? I don't think it is that. So what is it? Osman says, spot on. It used to be absolutely give it your all, or you stay on the bench. Fellaini, Pogba, Martial, Rashford are 4 gems, always in the news, says being Ricky. And Yuppa liked Pankaj's voice. We need to sell Pogba. I am sick of him, says Illa. You see, there are people like that. Paul Robinson says, Pogba, £150 million. Who should we buy? I think if we were to sell him, you'd have to be looking at 150 million quid. You'd have to be looking at that. That would be the minimum. I was on 90 minutes. You can watch it if you want to. Ben, can you hear me?
Hello, Mark. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, not too bad. You?
Yeah, no, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, just a quick question. I just wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on Pogba? Do you think he's a world-class player or not?
I don't think he's world-class. Do you?
I have to disagree with you guys, you, Sophie. Pogba, I think Pogba's a world-class midfielder. Pogba plays a lot of good balls to Lukaku. Pogba, to me, just like De Bruyne. They play the exact same sort of centre mid, attacking mid position. Pogba could be great. If Lukaku could finish, yeah, and I know you guys watch the game, watch alongs. If Lukaku could finish, if Sanchez could finish, if Rashford could finish, 8 out of 10 of these times, Mark, is Pogba spraying the wonderful balls over the top. Last season for Man City, De Bruyne has so many assists because Aguero can finish. That's our problem. Lukaku, like you said, has 1 in 5 chances. He'll score the 1 in 5. I mean, if we had a De Bruyne on our team, it was just like, I just think Pogba is great. I just think our strikers can't finish, Mark. That's our problem. Pogba plays so many great passes. Yeah, he might be a bit lazy at times, and obviously, Brian had a poor game and has a bad attitude. But Pogba is a world-class midfielder. He's a world-class midfielder.
I like Pogba. I'm like you. I do think he's definitely got things in his locker that make him world class. But the reason I don't think he is world class is because he's too inconsistent, and I don't think he can be world class if he's too inconsistent. And also, just coming back on that, I mean, yeah, if he was in a Man City midfield, you'd get a better Pogba because Pep likes flair and Mourinho doesn't. We don't create enough chances, so how can Pogba really do that? I think Pogba plays too deep. That in a short thing,
Yeah,
I think if you put Pogba where De Bruyne plays, you get a better Pogba. But Mourinho doesn't do that with his midfielders.
No, of course, and like Sophie said, I like Sophie, well, not like that, Sophie. I like Sophie. What she said, I had to disagree because she said Pogba does too many skills and flares. Mark, that's Pogba's style of bloody play. Like, no offense to Sophie, again, I like what Sophie said. She said it straight down the truth. But Pogba's a flair player. What are you expecting from him? Pogba is a flair player. Ronaldo is a flair player. Like, those are his attributes. And obviously, like you said, Mourinho just doesn't allow flair. Maybe that's why he's just so unhappy, because he knows I like to do flair, skills, tricks. Mourinho probably told him, don't do that. Play sideways passes. Play to Fellaini. Play long ball. But Mourinho wants to play flair football. And people can't get onto Pogba, for him being a flair player. That's who he is, Mark. He's a flair. You see by his bloody blue hairstyles, he's a flair person. So how are we criticising him for him being flair? I think that's so wrong. And I have to disagree with Sophie, what you said earlier. He's a flair player. He has too much skills. That's wrong. That's who he is, Mark. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is.
What about what he said in the press over the last week about we'll see where we're in a few months? Obviously, you know, again, speaking about the club when he's away from the club. To me, that says that he's not happy. And that's upset a lot of United fans. What are your thoughts on that? Because you can understand that the fans being unhappy when he turns, you know.
I think if we had a new manager, like I said, I'm Mourinho out. Nothing's going to change me. Not even if we beat Liverpool 10-0, I'm still going to be Mourinho out because I think his style of football is outdated. I think if we had a new manager, I think we'll flourish, Mark. I think we'll flourish. I think Pogba will flourish. Martial will flourish. They'll all flourish. I just feel our manager is just so outdated. This box-to-box side, just tiki-taka football, Mark. For him, 2018, next year, 2019, we can't keep playing this. Mourinho needs to, like I said, he doesn't have to design no more. He's still playing this old football, and that's the problem. That's the problem. So I think it's the manager. Also, I did want to say I really am sorry for Shaw. I did tweet on Saturday the game. I'm saying, any minute Shaw will get injured. It's such a Shaw thing to do. You're playing the best time of your life to get injured. And watch what Mourinho does. He's gonna play young. Even Shaw's back, he won't put Shaw again. That's what I think. I literally cried for Shaw because he tried so hard to get where he is, but to have an injury. I watched Mourinho bring Young back, never see him again.
That's interesting.
We all know that, Mark. We all know that.
That's interesting because I know there's a lot of people worried about that, and for people who are joining a little bit late, Shaw's not playing against Watford because of the head injury.
Yeah, I heard as well.
So it's only one game he'll miss. But do you think, despite the fact that he's been brilliant, do you think Mourinho will stick with Young?
Mark, come on, we know our manager. I mean, I think I know him more than his wife does. Mourinho's going to come play Young. Heard the lot is back. The minute Shaw's fit again, you won't see him again. Mark, we all know Mourinho. He's a crowd pleaser. I mean, I hope Shaw comes back. If Shaw comes back from an injury, we see him in 2-3 games, then I know Mourinho's changed. If Shaw's fit after Watford game, he doesn't play him against Wolves, then you know there's a problem. You know there's a serious problem. I understand head concussions take time, but if Shaw is fit, we all hear he's fit to play, he doesn't play him, Young is still playing week in, week out, then it's a problem, Mark. It's a problem.
It would be a problem because we'd have to go back to January when Ashley Young got suspended, Luke Shaw played well for 3 games, and the minute Young was back, he brought Young back in.
I just hope he has sense. I mean,
he's got to play. When Shaw's fit, he's got to bring him back because Shaw's done nothing wrong.
Of course.
But if he doesn't, there's a problem in it.
Knowing our manager, he'll say anything. Mourinho, he's not. I wonder about Mourinho. I do worry about him. I worry, Mark.
Are you worried about Watford? Do you think we'll win?
I think it's a game we have to win. I mean, I don't care what no one says. It's a game we have to win. Watford, we should be beating Watford 4-5-0, but it's a game we have to win. We can't go there and rest on our laurels. We have to beat them. Anything other than a win is unacceptable. This is Watford. Like, I don't care if people say Watford won 4 games. We're Manchester bloody United, for God's sake. We can't be thinking Watford because they got the core Dini. Who is that? We've got Sanchez and we've got world-class players on our team. We have to beat Watford. Anything other than a win, it shows we're not doing well enough. I'm so sorry. Because Watford are on the high right now, so we have to beat these sort of teams. We have to beat them, Mark.
If we lost, we'd be 9 points behind Watford after 5 games. That would say
it doesn't make sense. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. I mean, it's unthinkable. Just like I said, hope we have a good team and we win the game. That's all I can pray for, I guess. Just hopefully international a couple more days. But yeah, I'm just praying we win, Mark, because we're really bad. If he doesn't win, I'll be back on the phone to you saying Mourinho out. But so love United. I hope we do win on Saturday anyways.
No worries, Ben. Well, thanks for calling, mate. And I know you will call in again.
No problem, Mark. Take care.
You too, pal. Yeah, well, we're building up forward. On a positive, Ben's phoned in a few times. He is Mourinho out, as Andrew Ellis is, as quite a few people are, and there's no problem with that at all. There's no problem whatever you think. I mean, if you're a Manchester United fan, don't let anybody ever tell you, or a Liverpool fan, or a City fan. I know we get a few of those on here. Don't let anyone ever tell you can't have an opinion on your club. There's no such thing as top red. There's no such thing as ranking on who's the fan or anything like that. You can have opinion on your club, and if it's your opinion, that's fine. But I think that Watford's an absolutely massive game, and I think he will bring Luke Shaw back in. But I can understand why Ben's got a concern about it. But Young shouldn't be anywhere near our team now. I mean, Southgate got rid of Young as soon as he could to bring Luke Shaw in. I think people want Luke Shaw to play. And make sure you're smashing that like button. We're nearly at 500 likes. If you haven't dropped a like, it's been a difficult show today, but very, very quickly, I was on the 90 minutes. 90 Minutes Football is the channel, so if you want to go and watch it, you can do after this. It's really good. It's like a panel thing they do on a Monday. The first couple of minutes is a bit boring because they're talking about England, but after that we really get into the United stuff, and I think there's a few topics that on there that I would have spoken about tonight that I haven't done, so that you can go and watch that one. But interestingly enough, the presenter guy is a Spurs fan, so I was talking to him about Watford, and I said, look, we're going to be doing a preview for Watford later on in the week. All I know about Watford this season is that they've got 12 points. Tell me about it, because Spurs beat us, then lost to Watford. And he said, in all honesty, Watford are a very energetic team. They're at home. They'll fight. Troy Deeney up front, they're going to fight. But he says, we actually should have beat them. We switched off. We should have beat them. We had the chances. We didn't. So let's not, Watford have had a good start, but I don't think we should be too worried, terrified about them being the next Leicester. I think they're there to be beat. I think it's a tough game. It's always a tough game. Watford aren't bad, but I don't think it was like that they totally deserved to... they did deserve to beat Spurs, you know what I mean? But we can beat them. We can do that. Pep is a student of Cruyff's philosophy, says B and Ricky. Mad Marcus says, like, share and subscribe, please. And... want to talk about Dalot, says Bjorn Lundberg. Well, I was going to talk about Dalot a little bit later in the week because he is back fit and he is an option. But do you really think Mourinho is going to chuck Dalot in after no game time in a game like Watford? I actually think it's even irrelevant. So let's talk about it towards the end of this show. I'm not even going to talk about it in the preview. Dalot's not going to play against Watford. I'll be happy. I'll be stunned. I'll be excited if it happens. But it's not going to happen because... one thing about Mourinho that is very consistent, if he's got a choice between youth and experience, it's always experience. And this is a game he's got to win. So is he going to chuck a lad in who's never played in the Premier League, who is right-footed at left-back? Or is he going to stick Mr. Ashley Young, who pocketed Mo Salah and is very experienced in this league? He's going to pick Ashley Young. And Ashley Young will probably have a very good game. He scored 2 goals against Watford last year. But I don't really care if he scores 3 goals. I don't care if Ashley Young starts from the kickoff, runs back to De Gea, says, come at me, boys, skins every single one of them whilst doing keep-ups with his pants around his ankles, and then does an overhead kick from the halfway line, skinning them all the way back again. I don't care if he does that 4 times. He should not start against Wolves if Luke Shaw's fit, because Luke Shaw doesn't deserve to be out of the team for Ashley Young. And Mourinho did that in January. Young came in, Young got suspended, Shaw came in, did really well. As soon as Young was back, he dropped Shaw. That's what he should be doing this time. As soon as Shaw's back, you drop Young. It's a 1-game thing for him. George Ramos says, I think Pereira will leave. I think that career mode is back tomorrow at 1 o'clock 20 times on my channel, Mark Goldbridge. Had to miss it today because I was down in London town. But I think that Pereira, don't be worried about Pereira, is what I would say, because I think, as Ross was talking about last night, United have got problems. City have got problems because of the World Cup, because of fitness levels. I mean, Pogba needs a rest at some point. Lukaku needs a rest at some point. And I think that people like Pereira and Fred, all right, they didn't play in the last game, but they're going to become very, very important. There is another international break coming up in 4 weeks. I don't want to depress you, but there is another international break coming up, and there's another one in November. But in the next 4 weeks, we've got 7 games. We've got Watford, Wolves, West Ham and Newcastle in the Premier League, and we've got the Switzerland team in the Champions League, Derby in the Carabao Cup, and then Valencia. So we've got 7 games in 4 weeks. He's going to have to use the squad. And people like Matic has been approved before that they have a problem. We've had a super chat here. I just saw it. It's from Sebastian United says, what is happening with Martial and Bailly? Again, we've been talking for nearly an hour and we've not even spoken about Martial and Bailly. Bailly doesn't get enough. Pogba's had loads over the international break because he's opened his mouth. Martial's not been mentioned because he's not with France, and who knows what's happening with Martial. He's not signed the new contract yet. But Eric Bailly is another one. What's happened with Eric Bailly? He's been dropped for games as well, so it is really weird. Rohan Sharma says, can I get on the call? Thanks for the contribution, mate. And yeah, we had Fat Jock. You should get rid of Skype Mark. It would stop attention-seeking prats like your first caller. Like first two. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Eric Bailly. I would suspect Smalling will start against Watford. I would like to see the 3-5-2. I said that today. I would like to see the 3-5-2 come back, but it's going to be interesting. What I won't say is, well, look, the international break is over. It's over. I know it's not. I know there's games tomorrow night. In fact, I don't think we're doing an 8 o'clock show tomorrow night because I think I'm going to go on That's Football and do an England-Switzerland watch-along because I want to watch Rashford. But we are back on the United stand, building up towards Watford. People disappear over the international break. You're the hardcore. So I just want to thank everybody who does watch the channel and gets involved with it. And I really want to thank you. I try to do it, but I don't always remember to do it. But I think you know how important you are to the channel. So thanks everybody, especially over the international break, who's been getting involved, because it's sometimes a little bit difficult over the international break, but we are a channel that provides content daily. That's what we've always done. So thanks everyone who's got involved. Please do drop a like on the video for all the callers. And please do drop a like on the video just if you support the channel, because I think that's really important at the moment. I also just want to say as well that today was National Suicide Awareness Day. Bullying is something that's really important to fight against. And not everybody who commits suicide is a victim of bullying. They're not. That's a fact. But that's something I focused on today when I was tweeting, and somebody tweeted me back and went, not everyone who commits suicide is a victim of bullying. It is National Suicide Awareness Day. People do bully people. And people live in behind computers and they bully people mercilessly. People make videos of me. Don't worry about me. Just call me Batfink. My wings are like a shield of steel. But I saw somebody the other day, he's a hashtag United fan and he's deaf and he speaks funny. And people are chucking clips of him around going, hashtag United. Like he's clearly got issues with his speech because he's deaf. And that's memeing around social media. And everyone who retweets it and everybody who sits back and doesn't do anything about it, you are allowing these clowns who call into our shows to and all they're bothered about, right? If they say like Goldbridge and nonce and people like and retweet it, if you look at their account, they might have 300 followers. That could go up to 400 just off using my name. Bullies on social media are doing it because they want to get recognition themselves. It's a terrible cycle. I don't really care about the bully. They're a victim themselves because they're so desperate to get attention, but screw them. If you're evil enough to be a bully, go and deal with it yourself. But good people, as I always say, it's a great quote, evil prospers when good people do nothing. And just, mental health and things like that is an issue that can to be blunt, can lead to people taking their own lives. But bullying is also a factor and can lead to it as well. So just be wary of the community that we've got. Obviously, we don't tolerate that. But the wider communities you are on, it's not funny taking the piss out of people. It's not funny because you never know how much damage it can do. And also, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. The exterior of somebody can be absolutely, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm absolutely fine. I'm strong. The next day you get a phone call, they're gone. And that's happened to me a couple of times in my life, professionally and in real life. So just be careful, just be wary, because people aren't robots. People aren't beyond things hurting them. And there are some vile people out there. And remember as well, it's not maybe if you do it once, maybe it is banter. But when you're doing it 2 or 3 times, it's not banter anymore. You're a bullying little shit. And I mean that. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon.